Hi all, welcome aboard. This is Antarctica, not a destination, but a life experience. For me, this wasn't just a cruise, it was the climax of a decades-long dream. From Fortaleza to Antarctica, we followed the path of the Belgica, the first scientific expedition into the southern wilderness. They froze in the unknown, we barely tasted the edge. The maps you see are authentic. They trace the route, not just ours, but theirs. Their legacy. Over a century ago, Commandant Adrien de Gerlache led an expedition to the last great wilderness. The ship's doctor, Frederick Cook, diagnosed scurvy, prescribed raw penguin meat, and kept men alive through the dark, cold Antarctic winter. One of the first expeditions to survive an entire winter. We passed through the Straits of Magellan, crossed the Drake, and reached 65 degrees south. We came to El Fin del Mundo, the end of the world. This is where ice speaks in drum beats and where survival isn't a cliche, it's a mission. This was the goal. Silence like pressure, icebergs like cathedrals. I don't remember the name of this bay, but I remember the cold, the sound, the way the ship moved amidst the ice. The GPS will tell you where I was, but this is what it felt like. We reached the Bismarck Strait under a gray ceiling. No ceremony. Just cold water and quiet ice. Those were my first impressions. Cold, quiet, and indifferent. We watched the ice change shape, slowly, sometimes suddenly. With changing weather, light fractured, shadows stretched. Hours collapsed into minutes. As we continued up the straits, we started to encounter more and more ice. We began seeing larger and larger icebergs. We could hear the ice against the hull, scraping, banging, squealing. We were again reminded that safety is always of the highest priority. 3 Antarctic qualified captains and a certified ice pilot were now on board. As we sailed from ice field to ice field, we were again told to expect creaking. What we got was banging, crashing, the ice asserting its presence. Not a whisper of nature, but a warning. It snowed on December 9th. Light stuff that barely stuck. Less than 2 weeks out from summer, and it still throws weather out like that down here. The visibility dropped, sounds got soft, and everything went pale. Walking around deck was surreal. Quiet, cold, and kind of perfect. You stop seeing distance, but you start seeing textures. On the decks, on the rails, on the stacks, and of course the terrain. The snow's not just pretty here, it's part of everything. You think 30 degrees isn't really that cold? Add a 30-knot wind and it drops fast. The wind chill hits around 15 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not chilly. It's freaking cold down here. As we started a new day exploring, we stopped for a visit at Port Lockroy. This old British outpost is now a museum/post office, the southernmost in the world. A tourist stop now, but it used to be a research station. Radio ops, intelligence gathering, and weather reports were its main functions. Now it's penguins and postcards. We didn't stay long, just enough to log the visit, take some pictures, visit with their staff, and move on. Nice spot, some great pics. And the penguins, they're everywhere. Mostly Gintus, some chin straps. In the water they shift gears, they launch like torpedoes, fast, agile, deliberate. As we leave Port Lockroy, the old British base fades behind us. Penguins, flags, the museum. Heading into the Gerlache Strait, we follow the path of Commandant Adrien de Gerlache and his ship the Belgica. This was the first scientific expedition to Antarctica and the first to overwinter here in 1898. This is the gateway to the peninsula interior. Next stop, ice. The water opens up, and paradoxically, the mountains close in. It's quiet, but not still. The clouds roll low, the light shifts fast. You can feel the scale here, deep, cold, endless. This is our first whale sighting. There was no breach, just the mist and the breath. We suppose it came up to breathe, mid-feed or mid-rest. saving, regaining energy. December is peak krill season, and the whales are just arriving after as much as a 5,000-mile migration south. Humpbacks, minkies, fins, they all come here to gorge. This one didn't show us much. No flukes, no breach, we can't tell the species. Just a breath, a mist, and a moment. Enough to remind us we're not alone here. Watch for it. Another whale sighting. 2, maybe 3 this time. Same behavior though, no breach, just mist and breath. We're in the midst of a pod. For a minute or two, whales were visible from any vantage point on the ship. Port, starboard, bow, everywhere you looked, there was motion. No flukes, no specific species IDs, just their presence. We shot the moment, they moved on, and we moved on. Clouds don't drift, they race. 1 minute it's white solitude, the next it's broken light, and the next it's storms. The sun forces its way through, then vanishes. Shadows stretch and twist, collapse, then reappear. It's not just weather, it's the rhythm of the elements. And out here, you don't predict the unpredictable, you just witness it. You don't see many ships here. It's still a frontier. Last season, just over 107,000 people visited Antarctica. That's about 13 ten-thousandths of 1% of the world's population. And when you're out here, surrounded by ice and silence, you feel that rarity. You feel that privilege. Safety comes first. There's no formal rescue team here. Ice-certified captains and an ice-certified pilot are a necessity. Antarctica doesn't enforce rescue, it relies on readiness. And out here, readiness is survival. Today is December 11th, and we've reached Deception Island. Then we will sail into Admiralty Bay. The names sound like fantasy, but the wind, the cold, the silence, they're all real. Deception Island is the flooded caldera of an active volcano. Its name comes from the hidden entrance, Neptune's Bellows, which is a narrow gap that's invisible until you're almost upon it. It once housed whalers, then scientists, until eruptions in the late 1960s forced evacuations. Now only summer research teams from Argentina and Spain return. Antarctica isn't governed by borders, it's governed by agreements. Cruise lines operating here follow strict protocols under the Antarctic Treaty and the International Association of Antarctica Tour Operators. No more than 100 passengers ashore at a time. No touching wildlife, no leaving waste. Every landing is logged, every footprint matters. Our ship was certified to operate under these rules. Not all are. And vessels carrying more than 500 people aren't allowed to land. They stay offshore, watching from a distance. A visit to Antarctica is a privilege, no matter how you got there. Always intriguing to watch the clouds race across the sky. Light shifts by the minute. One moment the ice sparkles and glows, the next it vanishes into gray. Antarctica doesn't wait for your lens. It changes when it wants, and if you're lucky, you're able to catch it. This is Arktowski Station, Poland's research outpost on King George Island. It's been active since 1977, studying glaciology, biology, and climate systems. The station operates year-round and is one of the few that does. Researchers here track penguin colonies, ice shifts, and weather patterns. King George Island hosts more research stations than any other spot in Antarctica. And today we are graced as the sun breaks through, even if it's only briefly, and color returns to the world, if just for a moment. The clouds hang low, but the sun is still out. The water shifts from gray to blue. Mountains show their earth tones, brown, rust, and stone. It's one of the few moments when Antarctica feels less like ice and more like land. Color returns, and I couldn't help but notice it. The buildings you see are Comandante Ferraz Station, Brazil's base on King George Island, part of the South Shetland Islands. It's one of the larger bases down here and sits at the base of a patchy snow-covered mountain. Volcanic terrain and patchy moss. Penguin colonies start forming here in the early summer. They gather, nest, and wait. Seals patrol the edges looking for an easy meal. It's quiet, but the cycle's already in motion. The station's built low, armored against the wind. And as we pass by, I didn't expect to see it this clearly. Pretty cool. As we sail around Elephant Island and start to leave it behind, the wind's shifting and the seas are opening up. Shackleton's ghost lingers here. This was his escape route. We didn't land, just cruised past. But even from the water, it holds you. Shackleton's men waited here. Months of cold, hunger, and hope. The Drake is no easy crossing. It's one of the most unpredictable, roughest stretches of ocean on the planet. We're ready to cross the Drake again, heading north toward the Falklands. On the way down, we had a moderate Drake shake. Swells hit 20 feet. The pool water was rocking and rolling, but our ship barely flinched. Now on the return, it's the Drake Lake. Calm seas, cloudy skies, but calm winds. Same stretch of ocean, two different moods. I'm looking forward to seeing more penguins when we arrive at the Falklands, but Antarctica's behind us now. El Fin del Mundo leaves a mark. The silence, the scale, the ice. It changes how you see the world. Leaving now, it's not just the end of a journey, it's a lifetime of memories. But it's time to say goodbye, and thank you all for watching.